Welcome to the Video CPA. Today we're talking about how to prepare tax returns, how to learn how to prepare tax returns. And this is actually directed toward people who want to be a paid tax preparer at some point in time. I know many of you probably prepare your own tax returns, and a lot of the videos that I've been providing will help you do that. But this one actually deals with the type of paid tax preparers that the IRS recognizes, and how to become a paid tax preparer if you'd like to do that, either in a part-time basis or a full-time basis. You know, with the coronavirus going on, a lot of people do need extra money. So it's good to be here. I'm Michael Scott. I am the Video CPA, and this is a channel where we provide videos about tax and tax matters and accounting matters. So if you have anything that you want to hear about, make sure you give me a comment in the comment section and tell me what you'd like to know about that's tax or accounting related. Again, nice to have you here. Let's go ahead and get into this. First of all, you'll see that we do have affiliates, and one of our newest affiliates is Zen Business, who helps you incorporate and also helps you form LLCs, partnerships, that type of thing. So we also have Amazon and several others. So if you want to take advantage of any of those, we do get a commission on them. You'll go to the comments section after of this video and just click on one of the links. We also have an educational disclaimer here that you can read. This is common with every one of our videos. And now let's talk about types of tax preparers, okay? The IRS, when they talk on their website about tax preparers, mention that some are unlimited representation preparers, or they have unlimited representation rights. That means they can practice in any area before the IRS. It also means they can practice before the tax court. All right. So these are CPAs and attorneys, things like that. We'll get into a little bit more in a few minutes, but. And then you've got your limited representation preparers. We're going to talk about limited representation preparers quite a bit. They have the right to represent clients before the IRS, but not necessarily in other methods, and so we'll get into that in more detail. And then we have PTIN holders, and PTIN holders are tax preparers that don't have any representation rights at all. And you know, when you think about the value of representation rights, there is some value there. There's some value if you've got a client that gets audited, being able to charge that client for representing them at an audit. Problem is, not very many clients are being audited these days. Last 7 or 8 years, I haven't had a client that's been audited. And so my representation rights really are calling the IRS maybe and asking questions, or you know, sending a letter in to them, but that's about all there's been. And so I think representation rights are to some degree overstated, and a taxpayer that wants to just be, or tax preparer that wants to be just a PTIN holder can have a you know, pretty good tax practice, I think. So let's get into these in more detail. So your unlimited representation preparers, all of these are able to prepare tax returns for a fee, all right? And in order to do so, all of them have to be what's called a PTIN, a PTIN, which is a identification number as a preparer. So it's a Preparer Tax Identification Number, a PTIN, and that has to be renewed every year. Okay, so unlimited representation preparers have to have that PTIN just like anybody else. So these guys, the unlimited representation preparers, are preparers like attorneys, certified public accountants, and enrolled agents. And enrolled agents is a distinction noticed or recognized by the IRS, and it's a good distinction, it's a good gig. So they do have to take an exam. It's a fairly rigorous exam, and they have to have continuing education. So they don't have an organization like the AICPA or the American Bar Association looking over them, but they do have the IRS that looks over them. So it's a good distinction, and not a bad gig if you want to be a tax preparer and you don't want to be a CPA or an attorney, that's probably the best distinction that you can have. Now these guys have full representation rights before the IRS, which means they can represent at appeals, they can represent before IRS employees, they can go to tax court, those kind of things. So let's look at the next one now, which is the limited representation preparers. And this one is a little bit more complicated. And so, well, we've got, I think, 3 slides on this. They can prepare tax returns for a fee. They can represent clients before the IRS in a limited type basis, okay? They cannot go to appeals, and they cannot function before the collection division of the IRS. But they can talk to IRS employees. They can write letters, and they can make phone calls and talk to people about a tax situation. They can represent them in an audit. But if the audit goes to appeals, well, then they've got to get somebody else to take care of that. But some representation rights. They also have to be part of a volunteer project that the IRS has, and that is the annual filing season program. And what that means is that you have to volunteer to be part of this program. If you volunteer this program, it's got some requirements for it. Okay, it's a program that you participate in every year. Okay, so each year you have to participate, but it requires 18 hours of continuing education for people that participate in it. 6 of those hours have to be a federal law course, tax law course, and that has to have a test along with it. So it has to be a course that's actually tested after you take the course. And then they have to have a PTIN number, personal tax preparer taxpayer identification number. I mentioned that. And then they have to consent to adhere to Circular 230 and Section 1051, which basically controls how tax preparers actually prepare returns and how they act and treat their clients. So let's go on with this a little bit. So 18 hours of continuing education, that's CPAs have 40 hours, all right, and enrolled agents have hours as well. So it's not that bad of education. Now you remember there was a test that came around several years ago, and at that time the IRS tried to make every tax preparer take this test, and that was the Registered Return Preparer Test, which I think was in 2011, and it stayed around until 2013. Well, that test isn't available anymore, but some people did pass that test. And if you pass that test, well, then the 6-hour federal tax law course is waived, but you still have to have 15 hours of continuing education each year. And you also, have to consent to adhere to the requirements of Circular 230 and Section 10.51. Okay, so as a limited representation preparer, one of the advantages that you get is that you are listed on the IRS website as a preparer in their directory. Okay, which may or may not help you. It probably does help you if somebody wants to look you up and see that you're in the directory. That's a good thing. They receive actually a record of completion. Once they have got their hours in and taken the test, they receive a record of completion that they can show people and show that they have completed this program, which is a good thing. It's something that makes them stand out against other taxpayers. So let's talk about, or tax preparers, sorry. Let's talk about the third group, okay, and that is the PTIN holders. And your PTIN holders only have the authority to prepare tax returns. They get paid for them, so they can collect a fee for those tax returns that they prepare. They are encouraged to take continuing education, but there's no requirement that they do so. And like I said, all of these guys have to get the PTIN, and The PTIN holders, are not directly required. That doesn't say that they have to abide by the by Circular 230 and Section 10.51, but they certainly do. I mean, they have to do these things. So the PTIN holders, they don't need a lot of education. They don't necessarily have to continue education. So it's a very easy way to enter the tax preparation field is by starting out as a PTIN holder. Okay, and the IRS does do some scrutiny on their PTIN holders, but most people that want to wish to prepare tax returns can I think, get over those obstacles fairly easily and become a PTIN holder. And then you have to learn about how to prepare taxes, of course, but if you don't already. All right, let's look at another requirement all these guys have in order to prepare tax returns. And that is, if you're a tax preparer and you've got less than 11 tax returns a year, you don't have to file them electronically. But if you have more than 11 or more tax returns per year, you are required to file those returns electronically. And so that means that you've got to get an electronic filing identification number, which is an EFIN number, EFIN, an EFIN number, okay? So any tax preparers that have got their own business or anything that open their own shop to prepare tax returns have got to have that EFIN. Now, if you're working for somebody else, whether, maybe you're an accountant, CPA working for one of the big CPA firms, the CPA firm has the EFIN and you don't have to get one. Or if you're hired by H&R Block or something to do tax returns for them, they hold the EFIN, and so you don't have to get your own EFIN. But certainly if you've got your own business, or you're doing it on the side out of your home or something like that, you're going to have to get an EFIN. And so you have to file for that EFIN. All right, so let's talk about where to gain the knowledge that you need. And there are quite a few schools out there. But what I'm talking about today is that we are starting a brand new tax preparation school. It's going to be called the Video CPA Tax Preparation School. And it's in a beta format. We've only got 2 or 3 classes out there right now. But we're looking for a few students that will help us develop these courses by giving us feedback, by taking the courses. And if they'll take the courses, they get those courses that they take for free if they'll provide us good feedback on them. And any other courses will be discounted as long as they continue to work for us. We would imagine that by the end of the year we'll have maybe 30 courses out. And total course number, these are small, short courses. I mean, they may last an hour, they may last 2 hours, some might be longer, but for the most part, we've got our own school set up. And so some of the videos on the Video CPA YouTube channel will be part of those courses, but the courses, of course, will be in much more detail. And so that is something that if you watch one of our YouTube videos, that's a good thing. And if you want to have more detail, just go out and take one of these courses. And actually, they're free for anybody right now. But so you can find those at www.thevideocpa.com. And that's our school. And I think as of today, we've got 2 courses out there. By the end of the week, we'll have 3. So that's the deal here. So as a bonus for watching, take classes from the Video CPA Tax Preparation School, and give us some feedback. Put them in the comments section of this video and give us some feedback on this. Or when you take the course, actually, there's comment sections on each section of the course that you can comment on. And one of the things we want to do with these courses, we're not going to make people CPAs or attorneys or anything, but we are trying to target basically those people that want to become PTIN holder preparers and the limited preparation preparers. So Those are the people that we're targeting. So if you've got young people that don't have direction on what they want to do, if you're older and need to bring in some more money, maybe you're staying at home with the kids and you need to bring in some more money or want something to do, get a hold of me. Just contact me at michael@scottandscottcpa.com. Send me an email and I will get back with you, because we do want some people that will help us in a beta format, help us develop these courses and this school. So it's a good opportunity to get on the bottom floor, get your courses deeply discounted, and in the end become a tax preparer. And whether you're a PTIN tax preparer or a limited representation tax preparer is certainly up to you, because enrolling in the annual program that the IRS has is not a difficult thing, and you just have to take the continuing education, and you set yourself apart from some of the other a lot of the other tax preparers that are out there. So that's the deal on this, and so if you're interested to become a tax preparer, get a hold of me and let me know. And again, thanks for liking this channel and subscribing. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much.